We are joined now by a guy who I don't even know how to say his name. Now, when he used to play here, we were told it was Jahmile Addae, but when he was recently hired back in as a Mountaineer assistant coach, the pronouncer on it said Jahmile. So our first question is, did we call your name wrong your entire career?
You know what? We did.
Oh!
We did. And I'd like to think that that's probably my fault. Growing up, I grew up in New York, and so it was a thing where people struggled to say mile. They elongated everything, so it was Jamal, and that was a common name back in the 80s.
Right.
And I just one day just got tired of correcting people, and finally I just started rolling with it. And so, you know, Jahmile became Jamal, and it's funny. I tell people the only time that I hear Jahmile is from my mother when she's upset and my wife when she's upset. So.
Yeah.
With that being said, Jamal is all good. We can stick.
All right,
yeah.
So one of the two is what we'll call it. Well, it's good to have you back, man. How's it feel to be back in here?
I tell you what, it's like being in a time warp. I haven't been back since 2007, and at that point in time, I was actually coaching running backs at University of Cincinnati, and on the other side of some things, and really grew an appreciation for our fan base and how hard they make it for people to come in this place and play good football. But it's been awesome. It's been great. The reception of the fans, the community, the people, the coaches, so on and so forth has been a blessing in itself, and just excited to get to work.
Yeah. When you had that opportunity to say, hey, West Virginia's got a possibility,
right.
What was it that made you say, I want to go back?
It's home. It's home. And we talk about take me home, and that's what it was for me. It wasn't coach having to pull my leg too much, and had a great situation where I was at. But this one is obviously a place in which I made a name for myself, and was given an opportunity to better not only myself, but even my family as we move forward. And one that I just couldn't pass up in terms of an opportunity. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is. When you now take over a group of kids that obviously you hadn't recruited, you have to build relationships. What's your first goal when you get into your room?
To build a relationship. That's exactly right. I think kids will allow you to push them as long as they know that whatever you're doing is for the betterment of them, and that it comes from a place of love. And I always tell myself I would go through a wall for any coach that I knew was in it for my best interest. And so that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build relationships, get to know these guys, what makes them tick, what they like, what they don't like, and then kind of build a portfolio from there and go forward.
It goes by fast, doesn't it? I know you guys have started off-season conditioning. You're up in there. You guys are watching. You guys are evaluating. So evaluation has begun, hasn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I tell you what, there's a lot to evaluate. We've only had one day. I've only been out for one day. The one thing that I know is that these guys are typical West Virginia kids. They're going to compete. They're going to do what you demand. And so with that being said, we're going to make sure that we demand the right things, the fundamentals, the finishing hard, the attention to detail, and the things that have made us great here in the past, and really to build on what they've done in the past. You know, Tony Gibson and the defensive staff has done an awesome job and won some really big football games here, both with me as a player, as a GA, and then even thereafter. And so it's not like you're revamping or rewriting the book. It's more about just making sure that we tighten up some screws in a few areas and then roll.
Let's talk schematics here. So you played in the Big East. You've coached in the Big Ten most recently. You've seen Pac-12. And this game has changed since when you were out there, right? Absolutely. We used to see a lot more buttoned up. Now it's this. Absolutely. It's all spread out.
It is.
What's the absolute that you have to have from your guys to be successful at Big 12 level?
Attention to detail. From your alignment to your assignment to your key, your eyes, you've got to be locked in. This league, especially with that much green grass, the slightest of mistakes is 6 points. And so with that being said, everything is high stakes. You know, a lineman messes up, no one knows. A linebacker messes up, it's kind of hard to tell. Maybe every now and then you can see it, but for the most part, a layman wouldn't be able to see it. If a defensive back struggles, it's there for the world to see. And with that being said, we've got to just be really technically sound and have great attention to detail in order to have success in this conference.
Yeah. Looks like you could still go.
No, that's just looks. I promise you, it's just looks.
Now, we have to, I'd be remiss if I didn't close this by asking you about the Virginia Tech hit. Because as soon as you got rehired, instantly social media said, remember him? He was the guy that did it. So you would have immediately been ejected nowadays.
No question. I like to think I wouldn't have been able to play in this day and age.
Oh, you would have been able to play?
It's tough to watch the game through the lens in which it is now, because they have tightened up some things, and it's really for the betterment of really the players. It really is in terms of keeping everybody healthy. But that hit was a big part of my career. I think it gained me some recognition both then and obviously still now. I'll tell you a funny story. So we got to the school that we left for from here originally, and I was a GA at that point. And the referees came in to do a preseason symposium on what is allowed and what isn't allowed. And the first clip that came up was Coach Addae.
Seriously?
Yeah, and so that was, it was flattering in a sense because the guys kind of gave me some instant credibility, but at the same time, you don't want to be on an incorrect teach tape.
No, times have certainly changed. Well, man, it's good to have you back.
It's great to be back, man. You look good, man.
Thank you very much.
You look good.
Jahmile or Jahmile, your pick, Addae, with us here and back at Mountaineer Football.